Our story begins with the narrator's narration. Long before I was born, before my late grandmother was born, the gates of hell were said to have opened. Hell is a hot enough place to be called the wrath of Asura. Hell's scorcher, fiery Naraka. Cold enough to be called the wrath of Nahanra, a haven of ice. Ice Narana. Thanks to the battle between the two opposites, it's quite controversial, but the world was able to enjoy the warmth. However, it is unclear for what reason, but the ice Naraka has invaded our world. We can see a huge number of ice monsters and demons attacking our human world. It happened suddenly, and no one understood the reason for it. Why not? The world was consumed by cold. Demons came out of the ice Naraka and started eating people. The demons harmed all living things. They look like the most horrible demons, and anyone who gets near them is in mortal danger. These demons destroyed all people in their path, and after that, destroyed by them, people themselves turned into demons. When the forces of mankind were exhausted, 4 heavenly kings and God descended from heaven, and they began to save all living beings. After all, mankind no longer had a chance for salvation. If people were not helped, the demons would destroy all life on the planet. Among those who helped the people were 4 heavenly kings and God. One of them was the supreme god Indra, the spirit of the harvest. He could fly and was dressed in a white robe with long hair. A golden glow descended from this god. Also among them was a guardian of the south named Virudaka. It was a creature with a closed face and a green robe with gold inserts. She had long hair. Another being was a guardian of the east named Dhritarashtra. It was a large creature that looked like robotic armor, but it had a black, small, furry head. Among them was also a guardian of the west named Virupaksha. She was a girl with long black hair. She was wearing golden armor with red fur inserts. The girl had a red ruby in her forehead and white eyes. The guardian of the north also arrived with the others, and his name was Vaishravana. He was a large and powerful man, with fangs in his mouth, thick black hair, and tusks like a mammoth. Thanks to these gods and beings, the world was finally saved. All people were immensely grateful to their savior, and to those who had saved them from a painful death. Thank you, but why such great beings? Why did they take my youngest? Why did they take my hands? Why did they take everything from me? We can see a girl screaming after the gods. She's in grief. She doesn't know how to go on. She can't believe that the gods can do such a thing. She doesn't understand why it happened to her. We see the girl's hands flying away from her. When the gods left after saving all of humanity, they took the girl's hands and the girl was left to live without them. I'll never forgive you. The girl realized that these creatures had ruined her life and caused severe trauma. She decided that unlike everyone else, unlike the other people who were most grateful to these creatures for saving them all, the girl would not be grateful to them and would never forgive them for what they had done and for taking away her hands. The action of our story shifts to the military academy of the Guardian of the West, Virupaksha. In this academy, an entrance exam is going on right now. We can see 3 people, among whom are 2 boys, one in pink clothes and the other in purple clothes. Between these boys stands a girl in red clothes. This girl had no hands. It was a regional qualifying stage to the academy, and the girl stood among other applicants for admission to this academy. The girl stood emotionless and waited for the beginning of the tests. 2 boys were laughing at a girl standing next to them. They noticed that she had no arms, so they jokingly said to her, "What's wrong with you? Don't you have any hands? Did you come to take the exam like that?" The boys didn't understand how the girl could come to take the exam at the academy in such a state. The boy obviously didn't believe that a girl with such flaws could get into the academy, so he said, "Are you so sure of yourself, or are you just stupid?" Suddenly this boy also added, "I wish I could stand up to you." But the way these 2 bullies were laughing at the girl was noticed by another boy with purple hair. He was standing behind them and happened to hear the 2 students insulting the girl. The boy with the purple hair confidently walked up to the girl and said to the 2 boys who were hurting her, "No! How can you not be ashamed to behave like this? Apologize to her right now!" The boy decided that such hurtful words and insults could not go unpunished, so he called the bullies to apologize. But the boys were in no mood to apologize. They didn't even expect anyone else to approach them, so one of them said, "Leave us alone with your apologies. We came here to fight, so why not tickle the nerves of the enemy?" The second boy agreed and looked at the face of the one who approached them with his hands folded. The boy with purple hair was very angry. He didn't expect such insolence from these bullies. It wasn't normal for him that grown-up boys could insult a girl like that. So he looked at the bullies with anger. But after a couple minutes, the bullies left, and the boy told the girl to please ignore their words. Don't take it personally. The boy didn't want the girl to be offended and hurt. He understood that it was unpleasant for her to listen to insults to his address, but the girl calmly and without emotion answered him. I was not going to take offense. The girl was already used to such name-calling from other people, so she did not pay attention to it at all. And such an incident could not upset her and make her mad. Suddenly a loud voice said, "Next!" The boys had already forgotten that they were at the academy entrance test, so this voice brought them to their senses, and they remembered where they were. There was a fight of applicants for admission to the academy. One of the participants in the fight was Rayon Chilpo Mullet. The boy was dressed in green clothes. His hair was also light green in color. The boy was in great physical shape and was ready for the fight. There were spectators behind him, and many of them were admiring and asking, "What, is that a mullet?" It turns out that last year this boy suddenly checked out of the competition and left, but this year he was back again. Opposite the green-clothed boy stood his opponent. It was Rayon Dor, Riotous Flower. The boy was wearing orange clothes and had long black hair. The spectators behind him were also surprised by the presence of this fighter. After all, he was very strong, and there were many rumors and legends about him. Therefore, everyone around looked on in surprise at the fight between the two strongest fighters. The two fighters stood opposite each other waiting for the fight to begin. The referee said that all attacks with weapons were forbidden. The fighters accepted these rules and were ready to start the fight. The referee has announced that the fighters must make a bow. They must bow to each other as a sign of respect before the start of the fight. After bowing, the fighters are obliged to obey all the rules of the fight. The referee told the fighters to take their positions. The fight was ready to begin in a few seconds. The referee struck a large drum, and this sound signified the beginning of the fight. Before this sound, the participants were not allowed to move. As soon as the sound of the start of the fight was heard, both fighters immediately headed towards each other. They were both confident of their victory and determined and confident. Each of them was ready to attack, and with every second they were getting closer and closer to their opponent. The fight started. Each of the fighters showed incredible abilities and skills. They tried to defeat their opponent in the first seconds of the fight, but it was not so easy as both fighters were well-trained and experienced in fighting. The boy in green clothes tried to make a strong kick, while the boy in orange clothes tried to reach his opponent's head with his hand. The fight between the two academy applicants was accompanied by very strange sounds. These sounds were unlike anything else, and more like the rumbling of something iron. The people watching the fight also didn't understand the reason for such sounds. Some of them wondered wonderfully, is it the sounds from their clashes? The people really couldn't understand why such strange sounds were accompanying them. The boys who had only recently teased the girl and called her names were also surprised at the skill of these fighters. One of the boys said, "Shall we go home? There is no need to guess. One of these two fighters will definitely pass to the academy. We have no chance." But this boy's friend replied, "It's great that they fight until we get out. If either of them wins, they'll be wildly tired. The boy hopes that the winner of this fight will be tired by the time they come out. Then we'll have had many fights before them, so these bullies still have a chance." At this time, the fight continued, and the fighters' punches were getting stronger and faster. It seemed that each of them wanted to finish this fight as soon as possible, and each of them wanted to win. But a few minutes after the fight started, the boy in the green clothes threw one of the fastest punches ever. The boy hit his opponent in the chest with his foot, and the other fighter was unable to dodge the blow. He flew a few meters away and fell on his back. As soon as one of the fighters fell, at that very second the referee ran out to the scene of the fight. He raised his hand and shouted, "Mullet wins!" With a precise kick to the chest, the boy managed to defeat his opponent, and now he is the main contender for admission to the academy. The referee shouted at the top of his voice, "Next!" This meant that a new pair of fighters would enter the battleground. The judge looked like a lizard. His head looked like a snake, but his body looked like a human. He had a very physically strong body, but his tongue looked like a snake's. The boys who had only recently teased the girl were very much surprised by such fighting skills of the challengers. They had not expected such skill and strength, for soon they would have to face these fighters they had just looked up to, and these bullies were not confident in their abilities. But the girl stood calmly and imperturbably waiting for her turn, and suddenly a loud voice announced, "Rajoy Sangok! Nasua!" It was the girl. She had been announced for the duel, and she nonchalantly accepted it. The hooligans were very surprised at this. They did not expect the girl to be serious about fighting because they did not believe in her abilities, so they were very surprised when they heard her name. One of the boys said that he dreamed that his name would be said and that he would be put to fight against this girl because he was sure of his victory and had no doubt that he would be able to win such a weak opponent, especially who came to the fight without hands. But after a few more seconds, a loud voice announced the girl's opponent. Hanchong Green Plum District. It turned out to be for the same boy with purple hair. He couldn't believe what he heard. The only thing he didn't want was to fight against the girl he was protecting from bullies a few minutes ago. So the boy couldn't believe this terrible coincidence. The boy said to the girl with horror, "Oh God, we are adversaries. How evil is fate. Take care of me." The girl still stood silent and did not utter a word. She fully accepted her fate and how the selection to the academy would take place. On the boy behind their backs were disappointed that they had put this blue-haired kid against this helpless girl. They, them. One of the bullies said, "A jerk from the Hacken neighborhood? Is he from the trunks?" The other bully said that he was very jealous of this boy because he wouldn't even have to move to beat this helpless girl. The girl realized that soon the fight would begin. So slowly, without saying a word or showing any emotion, she walked closer to the venue. While the girl was walking towards the venue, there were many people around her. These people also noticed that the girl had no hands, and so they were whispering behind her back. They said she was the one who had insulted Indra 3 years ago and lost her hands for that. Hey, is that her? Just feed her to the demon, that's all. The girl reached the place and slowly climbed the hill where the fights were taking place. The judge looked at the girl in surprise and escorted her with a glance. The referee announced that the contestants should bow to each other, and the contestants did so. The spectators who were watching the fight laughed and could not believe that a girl without arms dared to go to the fight. The referee announced that the contestants should bow to each other, and the contestants did so. The spectators who watched the start of the fight laughed and could not believe that a girl without arms dared to go to the fight. Within seconds after the start of the fight, the boy with purple hair ran towards the girl with great speed. He wanted to finish the fight as fast as possible. He didn't want to lose a second. He was sure of his victory and didn't want to give his opponent a single chance. The boy approached the girl and kicked her in the stomach with all his might. The boy wanted to strike as hard as possible to leave his opponent no chance to continue this fight. The boy wanted to finish it and come out victorious as confidently as possible. The girl fell to the floor without strength. After such a heavy blow to the stomach, she could not stand on her feet, and so she fell down without strength and without hope of continuing this fight. The judge looked at the girl's body in surprise. He himself could not believe that the fight ended so quickly. After all, usually the fight takes several minutes. But now the boy was able to end the fight with one punch defensive seconds, so he and the judge looked at the girl. The judge announced loudly, "Green Plum had won!" The boy was still standing in front of the girl and looking at her. He realized that it was very simple, and he himself did not expect you to end so quickly. The boy with a smile walked up to the lying girl and joked in her ear about her. He was very happy about his victory. Without hiding his joy, whispered hurtful words about the absence of her hands. After a few minutes, the girl started and left the place of the fight. Everyone was laughing around and did not understand why she had come here at all. Someone standing near said that he would wait for the girl next year and hoped that she would be paired with him. Behind the judge was announcing the new participants of the fight, but the girl at that moment went away. The girl left the place, and in her back they shouted that they would be waiting for her next year with pleasure, so that they could easily win. The girl ignored this and proudly left the place. As soon as the girl entered the city, she muttered in a barely audible voice, "She should have fought him," but there was no changing that. The girl was really disappointed with the outcome of the fight, and the fact that the boy was not as nice as he seemed at first glance. He turned out to be as evil as everyone else. But suddenly, everyone around started screaming. People started running around and pointing their fingers at something. Voices and shouts started to be heard everywhere. "Demons! Demons! Demons!" From all sides, people started to panic and run away. Demons came out of the ground. Hundreds and thousands of demons came out of the ground, their eyes burning red, and they looked like extraterrestrial beings. They were chasing people in hopes of catching as many people as possible and destroying them. They appeared everywhere from under the earth and attacked all living things. The people were terrified. They didn't expect such a sudden appearance of deadly danger. But something of the demons caught their attention. Two of the people who stood in front of the girl pointed a finger at something and shouted in surprise, "Look! There's a demon with flying hands! There's a demon with flying arms!" Indeed, there was a demon on the horizon, with 2 arms flying beside it. These arms did not touch its body in any way and felt as if they existed separately from the demon itself. This monster was blue in color and had his own arms, but in addition to his own, he had 2 additional arms that flew beside him. One of the demons shouted that the Almighty wanted more living creatures. The demon looked like a monster, blue in color with sharp teeth and red eyes. This blue monster shouted angrily, "Eat and all!" The monster was determined to destroy all life in its path and spare no one. They appeared suddenly and many people had no chance of escape. There was a huge number of monsters. They tried to catch every person, but some still managed to escape. People hoped that someone would be able to fight back. The fighters in the academy was very large. The staff of the academy started a fight with these demons. They tried to destroy all the monsters that attack people, because the staff of the academy are those who can protect the helpless residents and passers-by. The defenders realized that they had to kill the demon with flying hands. That's the most important thing. One of the academy staff, who was the referee during the duels, shouted, "Raise the beacon." He said that the defenders must hold out until the guardian arrives. They must repel the attack of all the demons. But the other employees were not so confident in their abilities. They shouted, "No, we won't last that long. We won't make it. They will break through the ground and attack us." The academy staff were not at all confident in their strength. They realized that the demons are huge in number. Hundreds of thousands of monsters are attacking people right now, and they are unable to fight back. But the girl stood still and paid no attention to any of this. She was still emotionless and showed no fear or struggle in any way. One of the green-clothed fighters who had recently won one of the battles shouted to the girl, "Why are you frozen? Get out of here! It's dangerous here!" The boy didn't understand why the girl was standing there and doing nothing, because now she was in mortal danger, and he was shouting at her to leave this place and seek shelter. All the fighters were trying to fight the demons and trying to defend the city. But the boy with purple hair, the boy who had recently defeated the girl in a fight, said to the other boy, "Get away." Then he took the girl by her clothes and threw her aside. The boy didn't even hesitate when he did that. He didn't care about the fate of that girl. She couldn't resist, and because of this boy's strength, she flew straight to the demons. She couldn't resist them in any way as she had no arms. The boy knew this and purposely threw her helplessly into mortal danger. But the boy in green clothes didn't like that. He asked the boy with purple hair, "What the hell? What are you doing?" He really couldn't understand why the boy did that. After all, the girl was not a threat and was a normal civilian. There was no reason to throw her into a crowd of monsters. But he replied that the boy shouldn't worry about an inferior creature like her, and she wasn't worthy to live. The girl was helplessly in the center of a huge crowd of monsters. The monsters wanted to tear her apart and kill her as soon as possible. But the girl was still lying with her eyes closed without showing any emotions. She did not even fight with these monsters and did not try to save herself somehow. It seemed that the girl accepted her fate and did not resist. But she heard the words of the purple-haired boy, the boy who had once defended her. She heard, "Inferior creature, an arrogant little bug." The girl suddenly found herself in a completely different place. She was on the stone floor, and in front of her stood huge beings resembling deities. These beings were dressed in golden armor and looked at the girl with white eyes. But most importantly, in the hands of one of these beings was the girl's sister, the sister that the deities had taken from her along with her hands. It was the sister who saw her own sister and cried out, "Sis, I am here." One of the goddesses who stood right in front of the girl said, "How dare you touch my clothes with your dirty hands?" The great being who stood behind this goddess and who was holding her sister said, "Please be merciful, Indra. She may have acted rudely, but she is still a living being." This big deity was calling for mercy on the part of the goddess. The goddess with blonde hair pointed her hand towards the girl, and then there followed strange sounds accompanied by vibrations in the ground. At the same moment there were explosions, and everyone was shocked by what was happening. The girl could not understand how she was here, and what was happening, and why the goddess was so angry. "I didn't think I'd encounter such disrespect when I went down to pick up the reincarnation of a loved one. Luck favors you today, so be thankful you're alive. Let's go." The girl fell to her knees and didn't know what to do next. The sister in the arms of the deity could not leave her sister. She cried out with all her might, "Sis, I'm here!" But she was taken out in the opposite direction and they were not destined to meet today. Suddenly, a crowd of boys ran up to the girl and started beating her. They kicked her with their feet and beat her with their hands, while the boys were shouting, "Why are you ruining her life? Because of you, our village has been destroyed." All the villagers came out to worship. This is a gift of fate. The girl lay on the ground and endured the blows that the boys were delivering. They kept shouting, "We all almost died! You can't go unpunished! You'll be fodder for demons!" The girl was lying on the ground with no strength. She still had no arms and could not fight back against her attackers. She lay there and realized what was happening to her. She did not understand why and how she deserved such a punishment. Suddenly demons appeared near the girl. They saw the weak body and ran to her. They wanted to kill her and turn into their own kind, because if a demon destroys a person, that person also turns into a demon. And they ran straight to the girl to realize their plan. The girl realized that her situation is hopeless, and she will not be able to resist the demons. She was lying in a serious condition after she was beaten by boys, and he has no strength to resist these demons, who with anger ran to her with the desire to kill. But the girl decides that in this case she will become a demon herself here, and then she would help these monsters overthrow the kings of heaven. After all, if she in the state of man cannot defeat these deities and free her sister, then she will become a demon and defeat them so. The girl realized that she was taking a very big risk, but she was determined to get to this deity and destroy him. Even if she has to become a demon, she can still save her sister, and that's what matters most. Suddenly the girl heard a voice. "Do you want to fight?" The girl did not understand where this sound was coming from, and so she looked around. She was sitting in a completely white room. There were no extraneous noises and sounds, only a voice that addressed her firmly and confidently. "You are a sentient being who has lost the battle. I will let you fight with my power on my side." The unknown being said of the girl that although she had lost the battle, she would be able to continue her life with other abilities. The girl did not understand looking at this creature of yellow color without signs of human face. She did not understand why she was so honored and survived, because she had already resigned herself to the fact that she would die and become a demon. There was a click, and the girl felt an incredible power, as if something was filling her from inside. She felt an unprecedented power that she had never felt before. It was as if she was born again, and this feeling gave her confidence in her life. On the body of the girl has already attacked a huge number of demons. She was no longer visible from underneath them. They tried to finally kill her, but suddenly they were struck by an incredible blow, and all the demons scattered in different directions, showed a red fist, which destroyed the demons trying to kill the girl. The boys who were fighting demons at this time were shocked. They did not expect to see such a thing, and had already resigned themselves to the fact that the girl would die. But something incredible was happening, and both fighters, the boy with purple hair and the boy in green clothes, looked at what was happening with horror. The girl turned into an even stronger creature. She finally had arms, and they were insanely strong arms. You could see the power and fury concentrated in them. The boys were shocked. They couldn't believe their eyes. And what was happening right in front of them, right in front of their eyes, at the girl who had no hands, and who without a single word lost all battles. Suddenly the most powerful hands appeared, and she single-handedly defeated a huge number of monsters that wanted to kill her. The boys couldn't believe it, and stood with their mouths open. One of them said, "What? She's got demon arms?" The purple-haired boy who had just recently betrayed the girl and sent her to her death said, "She is evil incarnate." With all the words, he looked at the girl who had easily and skillfully dealt with a lot of monsters. The boy with purple hair was trying to find out who the girl really was, because he wasn't letting on yet that he didn't know who exactly he had betrayed a few minutes ago. So he yelled out, "Hey, who are you really? Are you demon or human?" But the second boy rushed to distract him from these questions. He shouted, "Wait! Those demons are coming here again! It's the damn ice monsters!" At this time, the boys did not notice how a huge number of monsters were coming towards them, intent on killing them. The boys noticed that there, the girl leaves a trail of fire. The demons run away. After all, the girl, in addition to the incredible power, has the ability to cause fire and control fire. And as soon as this fire appears near the demons, they immediately run away from it. The boys realize that only the girl can help them defeat the demons, because demons are immortal, and it is impossible to kill them, only to stop them for a while. But thanks to the girl's ability to control fire, she is able to drive them away, so the hope remains only on her. Suddenly the girl saw how downstairs two sisters are in mortal danger. They are at a distance from each other. The little girls are victims of demon attack and no one can help them. The girl sees the sisters crying and rushes exactly to help. One of the sisters shouts to the other, "Get out! Get out of here! Leave me here and save yourself!" But her sister doesn't want to do that, and doesn't want to leave her sister in mortal danger. But the girl who now had superpowers rushed to their aid. She didn't want the other sisters to lose each other like she had lost her sister, so it was very important for her to save these two girls, to prevent one of them from losing her family. So the girl dispersed all the monsters and made sure that the sisters were safe and nothing threatened them anymore. The two sisters hugged each other because they could not believe that everything ended well and none of them were hurt, because demons do not leave anyone alive. But today they smiled at their luck. The girl approached the two sisters and told the older sister to take care of her younger sister. After all, the girl can't forget how she lost her sister and doesn't want anyone to feel the similar flies she feels when she remembers the lost girl. Suddenly, the same demon appeared behind the girl's back, an ice demon whose arms were flying separately from his body. He shouted loudly, "Get out of here quickly, freaks! Do not interfere with our meal," where one could be unhappy that someone could stop them from destroying people. The demon looked at what was going on and said, "How unfortunate that I can't eat these worms." The demon was angry and frustrated that he couldn't deal with these people himself, and all the work was left to the smaller monsters. But suddenly he saw many of the demons dying one by one. Also he saw a huge flame of fire, and this fire was destroying the demons. The monster with flying hands couldn't understand what was happening and who dared to destroy them. He realized that this creature was using the hands of the fiery Naraka. The demon realized that there was nothing the monsters could do against the fire, and so the girl calmly defeated them. At this time, the girl was destroying one-on-one monsters. They could not harm her, and so the girl was destroying dozens and hundreds of hostile creatures. Suddenly, a boy in green clothes came to the girl. He realized that the girl is really very strong and much stronger than him, so he decided to give her a hard job. He said that he would take care of those monsters downstairs and could destroy them himself. But the girl must go to the four-armed monster and destroy it. After all, it is the strongest demon, and if you destroy it all, the problems will disappear. And only this girl can do it. The four-armed monster stood on the head of another huge giant demon. This demon stood watching everything that was going on, while on his head stood the four-armed main enemy, so the girls needed to get to him. But it was not difficult for her. With the help of fire, she climbed up and got to this main four-armed monster. She understood the importance of this action, so she knew with certainty that it must be destroyed here and now without wasting a minute. The demon saw the girl heading towards him and pumped. "You're arrogant!" The demon couldn't believe that someone dared to attack him. After all, he is the strongest of demons, and can't imagine that someone can damage him. The demon and the girl fought. The ice demon fought against the girl with fire abilities. Their fight could be seen from afar. It was a contest between two majestic powers. The demon shouted that he didn't care how hot the girl's hands were, or how fast her regeneration was, because if she dared to attack him, it was useless, because he was the strongest of all demons, and no one could defeat him. The demon said that he didn't care how this girl got her strong arms. He didn't care about the reason for her strength, because he would make her regret it. He would defeat her and assert his power. In fact, the girl herself did not understand why her hands, because the creature simply gave her a new life. The girl did not forgive about the chance and did not ask for help. She does not understand why this creature appeared to her and gave her such power. So that's how it is. Suddenly the girl saw the golden-colored creature again. The creature said, "I thought that you could use your hands." The girl replied with a loud voice, "Am I the only one like this? Why me?" But the golden creature calmly answered, "Because someone has to look after this world, and it will be you." The demon with whom the girl was still fighting shouted, "What? You want to melt my ice?" The demon realized that the girl wanted to win by melting the demon's ice with her fire. But the monster shouted, "You miserable mortal! What can you do?" He had absolutely no faith in the girl's strength and was sure she would never succeed. The girl heard the voice of the deity again. He said, "I'm going to watch over him through you. Please fight, don't stop." The golden-colored being urged the girl to keep fighting. She must win to prove her chance to exist. After these words, the girl gathered all her strength and hit the demon's face using all her power. Her fist went very tightly on the demon's face. It was very painful, and the firepower was able to cause him a lot of injuries. A huge fire pillar appeared at the place where the main demon, a demon with 4 arms, had recently stood. But now the girl, using all her strength and an admonition from the deity, struck a devastating blow with fire powers at the demon. The action moves to one of the deities. It was the same being with a red ruby in his forehead. He was dressed in golden armor with a red fur collar. One of his assistants was showing him the place where the battle between the girl and this demon took place. The deity was very surprised at such strength of the girl. He said, Is this a mortal with demonic hands? She has the hands of the fiery Naraka. The man inquired of his assistant. Is this creature on my side? He wanted to know if the girl was against him or with him. His assistant replied that the girl was on his side and was not going to harm them. The deity with the red ruby on his forehead was very much interested in this girl. He saw incredible power in her. With the help of her fiery hands, she could defeat a huge number of demons, and was very strong indeed. He ordered his assistant to bring the girl to him. One of the academy staff, the creature who was the judge during the competition, thanked all the participants in the battle. He said that everyone had done well, and thanked them for their excellent response to the attack. The creature also said, "Despite the fact that our recruitment principle is one person from one district, I must recognize your bravery. It is unusual to announce such a thing, but 4 people are allowed into the academy this year. The demon attack took the lives of many living beings, but I was able to see the bravery of each of you, so you are all worthy of studying at the academy. Congratulations." The judge announced that the academy entrance exam was over, and this time there was an exception, and there were 4 students enrolled in the academy instead of the usual one. The creature told all the students who had just entered the academy to follow him. He would take them where they needed to go, and they would be accompanied by 2 guards. As they were walking, the boy in the green clothes asked, "Are you sure this is the way we should go? I feel uncomfortable here." The boy doubted that the creature had chosen the right road and wondered where they were going. But Lizard Man replied that actually, this road was originally a test. After all, this road goes to the training center on Mount Quinmock. Demons and other creatures can be found here, and they were lucky enough to pass all the tests before they even got to this road. A member of the academy staff said that the winner in previous years had to survive and get to the training center safely. Most never made it all the way to the training center and died on that road. After this information, the green-clothed boy asked the academy staff member whether it was safe for them to go this way then. After all, if the strongest members had died here before, they would also be in mortal danger. But the employee replied that of course it was safe for them to go here, for Virupaksha himself had ordered that they should be delivered safely, that nothing should harm them on the way, so all dangers were excluded from their journey. The creature told the boy to just be grateful that they were being delivered safely, and not to ask any unnecessary questions. The academy employee also added that actually, he was only supposed to bring this girl with demon hands to the academy, but that would have attracted a lot of attention, so he decided to bring everyone who fought against demons. The boy with purple hair suddenly shouted from behind him, "If you were going to lead us safely anyway, why didn't you let me take a couple of services with me?" The boy resented the fact that he was not allowed to take servants, because it was very difficult for him to live without servants. He was not used to doing everything himself. The people who were walking beside him thought to themselves, "How ungrateful he is. This is just illegal." All around them were surprised at how brazen the boy was, because he had miraculously gotten into the academy. The boy continued to exclaim, "I have so much to do! If not my servants, who will take care of me?" But suddenly the boy in front of him interrupted him and said, "Will you shut up already?" The boy with purple hair didn't understand why everyone was so angry with him and asked, "Don't you need anything to live comfortably?" The boy really didn't understand how people could live without servants. Another boy from behind said that perhaps he had lost his mind, for to be so ungrateful was pure insolence. Everyone said the boy should be grateful to be here at all. The academy employee averred that if they took this boy's servants along with them, it would only be to satisfy the hunger of our monsters. After all, in that case, everyone would be eaten by the monsters. Also, the large creature who was leading them on the road added that he was the attendant of Virupaksha's keeper, and told them to call him Mouth. This creature was of gigantic size. He was several times taller than all the entrants to the academy who were walking on the road behind him. He also added, "When you realize how big the rank difference between us is, I will punish you for being rude. I will not tolerate such behavior, so watch your language and don't let yourself go too far." This phrase had an effect on the boys who stood listening to him in horror. The boy with purple hair immediately quieted down and said, "Yes, that's right. I got it. I'm sorry." Everyone else stood with emotionless faces and listened to their captain. After some time, they did reach their destination, which was Virupaksha Academy. They had traveled that dangerous road without encountering anything that could harm them. In front of the squad, Brantsev saw a new creature. It was a man like a rhinoceros with red eyes and sharp teeth. He wore white armor, and he strictly said, "Squad, halt! It was clear that he was waiting for the new students of the academy. The unicorn-like creature ordered all the guards of this building to bow to the General Jaws. All the defenders of the academy greeted the creature that brought the boys to the academy. Everyone bowed and saluted him. The purple-haired boy was surprised. All the defenders and guards of the academy bowed to this creature that was leading them. The boy said, "I didn't realize he was so respected here." The boy dressed in orange clothing said, "Then it's generally congratulations, it finally got to you. You should have been less cocky." The boys arrived at the human residence at the academy. They were assigned to the 4th squad, and one of the academy employees brought them to the room where they would live, where they would get acquainted with the other members of the squad. The academy guard also said that these are the last students to arrive this year. He said that you are all brothers and sisters now, so take care of each other. There were already 3 guys in the room. They were dressed in black clothes with red inserts. They said in a confident voice, "Yes, we got it!" The boys were ready to meet the new members of the squad, but from the looks of it, the students who were already in the room were not happy to see the new recruits. One of them walked up to the boy in green and said, "How am I supposed to take care of you? You were brought here by the handle, weren't you? Safe and sound." Apparently, the new students were not respected, for they had not overcome the same difficulties as the students already here. They had been led on a safe path. In that case, we can't be on equal footing, right? The student wondered. They can't be equal to those who did nothing to get here. They didn't make half as much effort as they did to get into this academy, so they can't be the same. The students also noticed that the girl was missing her hands, and they immediately decided to make fun of it. One of the students said, "Where did this fool lose her hands? What? Did she decide to make a sacrifice to the demons on the way?" All the students laughed at how helpless the girl was, but as soon as the student stipulated his offensive phrase, the boy in orange clothes immediately hit him with all his might in the head. No one expected such a development, but the boy acted unexpectedly, and therefore managed to hit the bully very hard. One of the students shouted loudly, "Boss, are you all right?" He couldn't believe that the boy who was considered the boss among the students had just been hit and was now lying unconscious. No one could believe that they could get away with such caustic jokes on a girl. Purple-haired boy, why is he the boss? Is he so powerful that everyone calls him boss? The boy didn't understand why this man was called the boss, even though he was an equal student of this academy. The boy in green clothes said he was a bunflower. He beat the boys in orange clothes, so he is the second person and took second place. The boy with purple hair was indignant. "What are you talking about, and who is in first place?" The boy wondered who the winner was if the green boy didn't win. But the green-haired boy confidently said, "Miss Sangok is the winner. Who else?" The purple-haired boy was puzzled. "Hey, I actually beat her." But the green-haired boy didn't want to discuss it anymore. He said, "You seem to really like to find out who won what place." At this point, she stood emotionless and thought, how noisy is this place? She couldn't get used to this level of noise and couldn't imagine living in a room with so many people. Shit. Living in the same room with them will be unbearable. The boy who had been hit and had been unconscious for some time stood alone against the wall, wondering how life would go on with the arrival of the new students. He rubbed the bruises on his face in the hope of easing the pain, for he was still in great pain where he had been hit. "What the hell?" A voice was heard nearby. Someone saw the boy standing there, rubbing his face with his hands in hopes of hiding the effects of the blow. The boy recognized the girl, he said. "Luna, is that you?" The girl dressed like the students in a black robe with red inserts slowly approached the boy, eager to know what had happened and why he was standing here. The girl asked in a calm and stern voice, "Did the new recruits who arrived today cut you down?" She tried to find out the reasons for the boy's bad condition, because his face showed the consequences of the fight, and the girl wanted to find out who had hit him. The boy shyly said there were 4 of them, 4 people attacking 4 against 1. The girl said, "That's it, I see. But that's the 4-man exception. They were brought here under heavy guard. We can't turn a blind eye," the girl said, looking at the boy who was still rubbing his face in embarrassment after the blow. The girl said that tomorrow the boy would bring them to her after morning roll call, and to make sure they didn't forget about it. She wanted to see them tomorrow. Meanwhile, the boy with the mop was standing in the room, he said. "The officer ordered to clean the room today and rest. Where are you going to clean?" He said this to the girl who was standing in front of him without hands. The girl realized that she needed to be reminded of her shortcoming, and so without hiding her irritation said, "I don't have hands." The boy realized that he had blundered and said, "Right, I didn't think of that." But one of the boys said, "You have legs." The other one said, "What the hell are you talking about?" He couldn't believe that the girl would actually agree to mop the floor with her feet instead of her hands. But the girl, to the surprise of everyone, grabbed the mop with her foot and held it as if with her hands. The boy who suggested it thought, did she really fall for it? Because he originally took it as a joke. But the girl wasn't amused. With green hair, he asked the girl to wipe the floor when he swept. But the girl didn't listen too attentively because she was the main thing to master the mop. Because she was not used to hold objects with her feet and not with her hands. But at this time, the boy with purple hair was lying on the bed doing nothing. He told a passing boy who had been at the academy for a long time to dust himself off and hurry up. The boy advised himself he had decided that he could command here and everyone should follow his orders. But the students did not tolerate it for long. As soon as the boy said his impertinent phrase, another student immediately came at him and began to strike him not strong blows. He decided to show that everyone here is equal, and no one has the right to order and tell who should do what. It's time for the boy to get used to the new reality and the fact that everyone here is equal. The boy picked up a rag and started wiping his mouth. He said he was wiping the dirtiest thing in the place, the boy's mouth with purple hair. He couldn't believe that someone could have the nerve to give orders in this place. The boy who was called boss was satisfied that the newly arrived students were getting what they deserved and were not arrogant. So he enjoyed watching one of the students beat up another student. There were students walking around the room cleaning, some were dusting, some were sweeping, but two boys were fighting on the bed. Another boy, who was called the boss, was standing there watching all this. One of the boys who was fighting shouted, "We are all equal in rank here." The action moves to the academy's training center, in the principal's office. One of the creatures says, "Long time no see, Commander Jaws. It was like yesterday we were hunting demons together." In front of the commander stood a creature with a blue head. It had 4 fingers and was also dressed in black clothes with gold inlays. But what stood out the most was its blue head. The academy employee replied that they had been hunting demons just yesterday and greeted the creature called Bright Eye. Clear Eye asked him, "Are you the director of the training camp from today?" The director replied that I am. Bright Eyes was the director of the training center. He was a lieutenant colonel. Clear Eye also asked, "By the way, Commander, will all the kids you brought in be able to make friends with the others? How did you even manage to bring 4 people from the same neighborhood?" The creature wondered how he had brought so many recruits. An employee of the academy said that the Guardian had ordered them to be brought in, and he decided to follow the Guardian's orders since he himself would never have brought all 4 to the academy. But it was an order. The academy staff members said that the most important thing is this girl from Sangok district, because the Guardian emphasized on her. He said that no matter what you do, don't bring her here. So the academy officer said to keep an eye on this girl to make sure nothing happens to her. But Bright Eye asked who she was and why she was so important. The academy official replied that she is a human being who controls demonic hands. They are the hands from the fiery Naraka. The interlocutor couldn't believe it. He asked again, "What? That can't be. Hands from hell? She has something that does not exist in this world? Really, no one could believe such a thing." The same Clear Eyes asked, "By the way, Commander, will all the kids you brought in be able to make friends with the others? How did you even manage to bring 4 people from the same neighborhood?" The creature wondered how he had brought so many recruits. The academy employee said that's why he didn't tell anyone about her hands. There was a boy standing in the room saying, "Hey, motherfuckers, you came here, or rather you were led here by the hand." This was coming from one of the students who had been at the academy for a long time, to which the boy with green hair replied, "Are you going to sulk about this all this time? Maybe it's time to let it go." The old student said that they had only been out here for a week, while we had gotten here for a month, trying to survive among the creatures and monsters that could kill us at any moment. So you can't be like us. You haven't overcome the same trials as us. Do you have any idea how many people were injured? How many died on the way here? How you, who came here by the hand, can be on par with us, the subjects who risked their lives for a chance to be here and learn here. There's even an armless one among you. She wouldn't have gotten here alive without an escort. She would have died halfway through. The boys wondered how an armless girl could have gotten to the academy, where only the best fighters who had overcome deadly trials were gathered. They were sure that the girl could not have made it halfway here. The boys were indignant that it was stupid to put this cripple without an arm on the same team as them. They couldn't understand why they should be on equal footing with her, even though they are professional fighters and can overcome any challenge. But they should be on the same team with this girl. But one of the newly arrived students walked up to this bully and said, "There are none here who are not worthy to be. Do you want us to pity you for your matter of wounds? Then why don't you pity her for her hand?" So he was ready to stand up for the girl, because he wasn't ready for the old students to insult the new ones. But the old red-haired student replied, "You have no idea what we went through to get here. You and I are on different sides. We came here different ways." The red-haired student was very angry. Suddenly a fight could start. Two boys who insult each other with words were ready to hit each other with their fists. They were already in a stand ready to fight, but suddenly one of the students shouted, "Officer is coming!" The boy with the red hair said angrily "You very lucky dumb freaks, that's the word today." On the second one, the boy said he would remember the first one's name, and he would remember it back to him. The boy with the green hair told his friend that if the bully had been with them when they were fighting against the demons, and when the girl had her strong arms, he would have kept quiet now, and would never have risked insulting them. But still, the boy said they were trainees now and had no power or influence. But he wondered, when they found out about this girl's hands, would they continue to behave like this? But after these words, the boy with green hair asked the other boy, "Didn't you bully her yourself?" The boy decided to remind him that the boy with purple hair had also called the girl names and insulted her, so he shouldn't be too proud of that. Suddenly the students heard a voice from above saying, "Get ready for class! Get ready! Go to the study! To the study!" The boys realized that it seems that the study begins and it's time to get settled in a new place. The students entered the first office. There they were greeted by the instructor. He said, "Welcome to the academy, trainees. My name is Yu Quan. I'm in charge of education. So let's start our first class right now." Yu Quan was the captain. He's the surgeon in charge of education. The teacher said, "Those who have been treated by me in the infirmary already know the psychological training will be held for 2 weeks. The exam will be held every Saturday." The teacher was also dressed in black clothes with red inserts. In front of him sat a large number of students who were listening to him. The training camp consists of 3 companies. Each company has 4 squads of 8 men. The boy with purple hair asked, "What is the psychological training for 2 weeks?" While the boy with green hair said, "It's been a long time and hasn't held a pencil in his hands." None of them were ready for real learning and didn't understand what they should be preparing for. The training camp consists of 3 companies. Each company has 4 squads of 8 men. The boy with purple hair asked, "What is the psychological training for 2 weeks?" While the boy with green hair said, "It's been a long time and hasn't held a pencil in his hands." None of them were ready for real learning and didn't understand what they should be preparing for. But from behind the old student said to them, "You, brought here, cannot understand the curriculum. The process of psychological training includes helping wounded comrades. So focus on the subject." On the boy with green hair said to him, "Please, you can be quiet. You are interfering with the class listening to the teacher. The army of Virupaksha's guardian is called Naga. Naga is an anthill, and we are ants in this anthill." At this point, the withdrawal ended, and the boys left the class without understanding anything. The boy with purple hair said, "I'm exhausted for the day, and we have 2 more weeks to work like this?" The boy with green hair answered, "Do you even remember what we talked about today?" The boys couldn't understand how they could stand such a load of lessons. "You didn't understand anything on the first day." The boy with purple hair said, "Do you think I'm totally stupid?" To the boy with green hair replied, "Okay, what are the criteria for graduation?" "Those criteria are to become a second-ranking officer. You have to break a rock in a few blows. If we pass the exam, we'll rise from second-rank officer to first-rank officer." The boys didn't understand how they could test their strength in such a barbaric way. After all, it's a rather old method. They could have come up with something more interesting and modern. but they decided to test their strength with blows to the stone, and it upset them. Suddenly the students met the very boy who was in the same room with them on their way. He said, "Hey, brought on the pens. Follow me." One of the students asked him, "Are you just going to pester us all the time because of this?" The boy with purple hair said, "He still won't get off our backs. Let's deal with this quickly and get out of here." The other boy said, "You already got it from that asshole, so it's my turn to talk." The boy with purple hair understood that in any case, there were no creatures in this training center stronger than this armless girl. He remembers how she masterfully destroyed all the demons. The boy realizes it will be awkward when she decides to get revenge on them all. And if the boy with purple hair wants to be safe, he has two choices. Either be on the girl's side or kill her. Standing saw in front of them a group of students who were already improving here. In front of them stood the same girl with blonde hair. The girl saw the students approaching and said, "I guess you're not dumb. You realize that no one here is happy for you because you came here totally unscathed and unhindered. But it doesn't look like you're going to respect us for that. So I suggest a one-on-one fight." One of the new students who was standing across from the girl said, "Ha ha ha, are you seriously doing this kind of shit here? We don't really want to deal with this childish stuff right now." The girl replied, "It may be childish, but we will deal with you quickly. When the fight is over, everyone will be in their place." The girl looked confidently at the students with her orange eyes. She also had orange eyebrows and orange hair. One of the new students replied, "Are you going to keep pretending that this is a fair offer? I'll deal with you here and now." The girl interrupted him and said, "No, not now." Said it was dinner time, and today they were giving 2 eggs from kimchi, from the Chilpo area, which is famous for its flavor. The boy said that his family makes this kimchi. The girl replied that apparently his parents had decided to provide the training camp with kimchi as a thank you. The boy said sternly, "You talk too much. So when are you and I going to have a fight? I'm ready right now." But the girl with a smirk replied, "Yes, hell he knows. It will be clear later." The boy uncomprehendingly interjected, "Are you kidding me or what? Tell me the place and time." But the girl with a smirk replied, "Yes, hell he knows. It will be clear later." The boy uncomprehendingly interjected, "Are you kidding me or what? Tell me the place and time." At first there was silence for a few seconds, but then the boy rushed into the belt. He ran towards his abuser without warning anyone. He wanted to do battle right now and defeat his enemy. He ran without turning around, hoping to fulfill his wish. But the girl was smiling, looking at it. It seemed like she was just waiting for this. She was trying to provoke all this time the boy to make an attack and start a fight. Out of her mind she didn't want to do it, and now smiling and contentedly looking and watching it. The boy shouted, "Let's get started! Right now, let's get started!" With these words with a confident face, he jumped towards the girl with the desire to deliver a crushing blow. Let's have a little lesson in ranks. There is the Queen and the Naga soldiers. They have low intelligence. Sometimes they appear in human form. They are also strong in spirit and very survivable. Exam criteria. An officer of the 3rd rank needs to break the stone in a 12 blows. Officer of the 2nd rank need to break the stone in just a few blows. An officer of the 1st rank needs to break the stone in a single blow. The best scores so far are Ah Seong-gi and Nayuta. Virupaksha, Guardian of the West. In the past, he's the king of destruction. This particular creature with a red ruby in his head and red fur at his collar. But we will return to the fight between the students. One of the new students tried to kick the insolent girl, because he could not tolerate such humiliation. But something went wrong, and while he was flying with the desire to kick, he fell a few meters away from the girl before he could do her any harm. It turned out that it was the boy with green hair who had grabbed the other student's leg without letting him touch the girl. But this student did not understand such intentions. He shouted, "Jerk! Why are you stopping me?" But the green-haired boy answered him, "If you started a fight now, you would attract a lot of attention. We don't need that right now." The boy realized that his friend was right, and now it was better to get away from here and not to attract attention, because it could play against them. So now it was better to go to dinner and have a good meal than to fight in the street. But there was one moment that the boy managed to notice while he was about to strike. He saw the girl take her hand out of her pocket, and her hand sparked, It was lightning. Judging from that lightning, it seemed she was from the Dori district, where Indra himself had blessed. But the girl also noticed one strange thing. She remembered that armless girl and wondered at why is it. That armless girl, she didn't care about everything that was happening. But as soon as I showed the lightning, that girl's look immediately changed. One of the boys noticed the girl's hesitation and asked, "Luna, what's wrong with you?" She replied sternly, "Don't you dare touch the one without hands and the girl." One of the students interrogated her, "But why? Don't tell me you felt sorry for her." "No, we certainly can't be lenient with that handicapped girl. She'll get the same amount of money as the rest of us." But the girl, without letting it be said to the students, replied sternly, "No, I'll do it myself. I'll deal with her myself with a point, don't touch her. Understand?" The other students silently said that they understood everything, because in their company it was not customary to object to this girl. Everyone listened to her. So no one asked unnecessary questions, and calmly said that they understood everything, and would not only the girl let the others do it. Students sat in their room and asked questions on, why are they so attached to us? What do they want from us when they get off our backs and go about their business? The boy with green hair said that this girl's strength is proven by the fact that she got here completely unharmed. No one was able to harm her on her way to this place, not demons or monsters. So perhaps she is the strongest among them. But in fact, the boy has no idea who is really the strongest among them.